an hour before we bring our guest on. And our guest tonight is Tim. We're going to be talking about UFOs, ghosts, and paranormal. So we'll be back in about 2.5 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio with me, the host, Gary.
Journey, some ask themselves why the big time has passed them by. They want it all and they want it now. No need to wonder how or why. They decide to make a connection with the bearer of light from the other side. It's a self-centered new world reflection. It's a one-way ticket for a hell of a ride. They're making a deal. Whether down at the crossroads or Hollywood and Vine, they're making a deal. Gonna have it all for a moment in time. You may be a kingpin drug dealer who wants the competition out of the way. You may be an elite politician who wants total control and a power play. You may be an aspiring entertainer who wants to have their name in lights. You may be a 4-star general who wants the upper hand in a global fight. They're all making a deal. With the chief light bearer from the other side, they're making a deal. It's an alternative thing for one hell of a ride. So you call on the bearer of light. He offers you a plush cushion to relieve you from your discerned plight. Don't bother to calculate the interest as a benefactor of his door. You get what you want for a moment in time as he confiscates your soul.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
Good evening, or morning, depending on your time zone. From the Pacific to the Atlantic to you worldwide. Get yourself a cup of java and find a comfy, easy chair. And get ready for Gary and his guest on Night Dreams Talk Radio. After Dark. And now, here's Gary.
I almost feel like Johnny Carson every time I play that intro to the show.
I feel like Ed McMahon. Hey, Johnny, let me ask you. That tune was pretty catchy. Who is that? Who are they?
Well, you know who that is.
It sounds like the Metatron.
It sure is. Power and light.
They got some catchy tunes, I gotta say.
Oh, yeah. I like them. They're nice. Tom is the leader of that band, and I'll tell you what, nice guy.
He is, and he knows a lot about the paranormal, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, he's been sending me a lot of information about it. I'll tell you what, this guy is really in tune to it. I mean, his music, he writes the music, and it shows.
Yeah, it's like the paranormal is his muse for his music, if that makes sense.
Yeah, my wife just came home, and, my studio is out of my house, and it's a fully equipped studio. I post it quite often, what it looks like, as I make the upgrades, on Facebook. But I tell you what, I'm looking at a cigar in my ashtray, and I don't dare light it because I will get screamed at, even on air. But I tell you what, it's like torture. It's like putting Reese candy bars in front of me.
It's like putting 10 grand in a degenerate gambler's pocket and set him loose in a casino and say, you cannot gamble. Don't do it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I might remember. Oh, this is Sam here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's Sam. But, I remember years and years and years ago. This is like, right after they invented the wagon wheel. I went on one of these flights up here from Seattle area to Reno. And all you had to do is show me that you had $600 to gamble. And you got a free flight there and a free flight back. Well, I won the jackpot. Not a huge amount. I think it was like maybe $10,000. But I got greedy.
Uh-oh.
And you know what? I gambled it all away. And we were there for like 8 hours. There was no way to return. I went through that $10,000 plus my $600 like within 6 hours.
Did you have to hitchhike home?
Almost. Well, you know what? It got to the point where I only had like $2-3. I still had like 2 hours to kill. And here's the floor manager for the casino walking around. He knew that we came, by VIP from, Seattle on a plane because they paid for the flight, right? So they're making sure you're gambling. Okay? And if you don't gamble, they got a couple magic words like, how are you going to get home? And you go, what do you mean? Well, you got to gamble the whole time you're here or we're not going to pay for your flight back. I'm going, wow, I only got a couple dollars. So, I had a friend with me and we decided, okay, we'll sneak down the lower part where, they had the nickel and penny, things you could bet on.
Yeah.
We weren't down there for more than like 10 minutes and security come up to us. It said, hey, do you want a flight back on that 727? Or do you want a hitchhike back? And, so we went up there and we kind of like, oh God, now it's like 45 minutes we have to kill. Thank God they kind of like lost interest in us and they were probably looking at the other people, like the other 40, 50 people that flew on the flight and paid more attention to them. But I tell you, I came so close to having a hitchhike from Reno back to Seattle. So I'm telling you, if anybody goes on to any of these flights, if they even do this type of thing anymore, space out your gambling. And you know what? And if you win the jackpot, don't get greedy. I got greedy. I figured, this is like the first dollar I stuck in the slot machine and I won 10,000. Oh, this is going to be easy. You
should have stopped right there because they're in the business for one thing, not giving out money, just keeping you, stringing you along and taking your money.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they make.
Yeah. You know what? It would have been cheaper. I should have just walked with the 10,000, right? And then I could have paid whatever it cost to fly back, and I could have flew back instead of coach. I could have went back, in first class. I had champagne and caviar.
Yeah, it's not a good sign when management comes to you and asks you, hey, you want us to call you a ride home, or are you going to hitchhike, or what's up? That's a bad sign.
No, they didn't say call you a ride home. They said, are you going to hitchhike home?
Oh, they just going to show you the door.
Yeah. Or the desert out there, one of the two.
Either way, that would not have been pleasant.
No, not really. Hey, Sam, how you doing, my friend?
I'm
Sam,
doing pretty
up?
good. How are both of you doing?
Oh, you know what? You got more bass to your voice.
I know. I fiddled with some knobs and readjusted the microphone and a few other things. And
are you going to send me? You going to send me the check for my helpful hint to you?
Oh, I know.
I know you're gonna tell me next.
Just take it out. Just take it out. Part of the 10,000 you lost in Vegas.
Yeah, well, sure.
No, I bet they should have been happy that that they got their 10,000 back, and they were expecting you to spend the last 45 minutes to gamble some more, or else you wouldn't have gotten your ride back on the plane.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have, and that was scary because I went on the plane probably with under $700 with me, and I even lost that. The thing is, when you're up on the upper floors in some of those casinos back then, the bets weren't like $1. They did have a couple of machines that were $1, but a lot of them were like $5 and or they expect you actually to even go to the tables and, where you can really dump it fast.
I don't think they would have been happy if you just simply walked out with the 10,000.
No, I might have seen the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would have gave you a nice ride in a car someplace. I says, why are we not going to the airport? What's the deal here?
Yeah, that was a long time ago, and Reno in Las Vegas has totally changed. The best time to go, don't go to Reno. I'm sorry, guys, but there is a good reason to go to Reno. You can go on that little trip 15 miles away and see, Virginia City. But seriously, if you go to Las Vegas and you go during the week, you could get a beautiful suite, for like $50, $60 for a night.
Oh, yeah, and the food's cheap, too.
Oh, yeah. I had a huge steak and all that stuff for like $5, $6. I love it. That's what up to about 2 years ago when I was still riding the bike and going up to Reno, Las Vegas, and all that stuff. I would stay a couple days in those real fancy hotels and stuff like that.
And I wasn't a gambler. I actually went for computer conventions. So not being a gambler, it got a little boring at first, but boy, I sure ate pretty good.
You gained some weight there too, but what's nice about those? The one, I can't even think the name of the hotel was at, but they had a huge movie theater built into it, and they had like 3 different movies going. So we sat there and I figured, hey, what am I going to do? I don't want to spend all my money gambling and lose it all. So, me and my 2 sons, the last time we went, we sat there and we watched one movie, and then we paid the ticket, went and saw another movie, and then we went and saw another movie. And in between, we'd, do all the bad stuff like, margarita without a salt and things like that. It was fun.
These casinos, at least the ones on the East Coast in Connecticut, they got smart. They designed their casinos where they're family oriented. So now they've got things for kids to do, like movies and rides and all kind of stuff. So they're getting your money from all directions now, not just gambling.
Oh, yeah. The ones in Las Vegas, they're the same way. They're set up with the theaters, and, they even got some amusement stuff in there just to keep the young people, busy while their parents are losing their money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I sure had a lot of fun going to the Hilton at the time. I guess it was about 20 years ago. I'm going to come out of the closet as a Trekkie fan, okay?
Okay.
They had the Star Trek experience where they had all the props that were used back in the original series.
Uh-huh.
They had a place called Quark's Bar, and everybody was dressed up. I mean, all the different aliens that were on that particular show, like Deep Space Nine and everything was on par. And the experience actually was where you're actually going into a dark room, and you feel this electricity. I'm not quite sure how they managed to do that, but when the lights came on, guess where I found myself standing with a few other people. We're standing in a transporter room. And everything from that point forward was on par with Star Trek The Next Generation. Every corridor, right up to the bridge. I was just blown away by it.
Wow. I got to ask Sam, what costume or character did you go as?
Oh, no.
Come on, you can't leave us hanging.
No, just the tourist. I'm just a tourist walking through and checking this out. I was with a buddy that my work associate, and I believe we had a good time, though. I mean, it wasn't the longest thing. The experience took about 20 minutes, I suppose. By the time it had a storyline that went with it, and I was pretty impressed with it. We checked out the different props that we're using. They were in glass cases and had a drink in Quark's Bar. I mean, it was not bad at all. It's not there anymore, but it had a good run for about 10 years or so.
Oh, yeah. Wow. What do you have you, are you going to be into the new Picard?
Oh, you know what? I have utterly refused to sign up till now with CBS All Access, because part of the reason is if I'm not attracted to too many of the shows, there's not much point in paying for something you're not going to watch. And they had the newest series called Star Trek Discovery, but I'm one of the people that expect to see the